This ain't your crap boss have radios. Grab your rig, hit the trail, mine set on fire. Bugs on the air, activating the wire. Summits on the air, string CQ. Portable power, no shack, just me and you. Experiment while break the old rules. Contesting pileups, we're running the fools. No age limit, here it's a state of mind. Kids table rebels leave a boring behind. Heavy signals crashing down. CQ, on the town, on a SOTA contest war. Ham radio kids table, forevermore. People bait, waves in the fight. This is our revolution, turn it up tonight. Kids table, hell yeah. Not your grandpa's wheel of future on the air. Kids table, out.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Ham Radio Kids Table. It is another wonderful Wednesday night, and tonight we've got a special guest here. We have our friend Stavros, or AKA Steve, I've heard around the social webs, from the company LowMesh. And LowMesh makes LoRaWAN devices, but more specifically ones that you can use with MeshCore and Meshtastic. So I thought that this would be a pretty good. And you guys, when I came back from Dayton, and I actually met Stavros at Dayton, had a great conversation. I think you and I kind of linked at a technical level, which I thought was pretty good. And I invited him to come on tonight, but I had talked to you guys about that cool outdoor PoE node that I had picked up, and Stavros is the designer behind that. So definitely wanted to get him on. Hey, Dave, our mesh dealer, Dave is in the chat. I saw him. The link is in the back channel if you want to come in.
He's already correcting you. Dayton? You mean Orlando?
Whichever, Dave. Gosh dang it! Now you sound like my ex-wife.
I'll see you in Dayton too.
Yeah. There we go.
We're in the future. We're way out there already.
Right. We're in the future. So, just to give everybody a little, could you give everybody just a little background on Stavros and where this all kind of came from?
Well, when I was in high school, but actually, seriously, in starting at high school and forward, I was always in like PIC microcontrollers, basic stamp 2, and throughout all the way up until now, it's always been in some type of tech or industrial controls type of industry. And a company I work for in New York right now, they do all LoRaWAN B2B hardware. And so when I was working and dealing with rack, we saw that there was a market for Meshtastic at the time, and now MeshCore is out there, that a pivot from LoRaWAN hardware to Meshtastic was a very easy pivot. I could leverage all of the knowledge that I've learned and leveraged for LoRa and installations and understanding the propagation and what the limitations are, at least when it pertains to LoRaWAN. It was very easy to transfer that over to the technology for mesh that we're talking about today.
Awesome. So right off the bat, let's go ahead and get it out there. Interstellar Starman asked the question. Where'd it go? MeshCore or Meshtastic? Which one is better?
It really, well, how do we put it? It depends. Everything really depends on
you're going to fit right into the amateur radio community.
Well, there is no wrong or right answer. It's all how you use it.
Absolutely.
So Meshtastic is great for ad hoc. MeshCore is great for physical installations that do not change or move. So if it's a Burning Man music festival, it comes and it goes. It's very transient. Meshtastic would be great for that because of the dynamic building of the mesh map. But MeshCore, on top of a building in Orlando or in New York City, for example, things that won't move. At least in my experience, that's where the two differentiate, and that's where the two shine in their own respective corners.
I definitely agree. I think we've seen in some of the things, and actually Dayton, not this past year, but the year before that, we pretty much collapsed the Meshtastic network. because there was so much traffic there, so many people on it that now to their credit, they came in and they analyzed it, went back and said, how can we make this better? And they made some changes, and that's where those custom firmwares came from to kind of address some of that. But I don't know with the volume. You mentioned Burning Man. I don't know how many people would be sober enough to to use the node. But do you see where it maybe at some point, the dynamic is great. You're out hiking in the woods. You mentioned earlier with one of the products that you've got it. If you want to stick a note on a dog or your kids as they're kind of venturing away, that ad hoc type network is good. But does there, or have you seen a point where you start to saturate it and it becomes problematic, and maybe looking at something more like an infrastructure type network like MeshCore?
In the sub gigahertz, the way the settings are currently for Meshtastic and MeshCore, we'll just blanket talk about both of them. The confliction of how many nodes you can have where packets might start colliding with one another really depend on obviously the settings, but also the amount of traffic going on that you're doing, as well as what the network Meshtastic is doing in the back end. Now, both companies or both platforms are handling that differently, and both of them seem to be migrating closer and closer to the middle, where Meshtastic is, let's say, reducing the number of retransmits of the network telemetry data. That way, the mesh is building, but it doesn't build as fast, for example, or it doesn't spread as far, and that way it reduces the amount of congestion. So, have I seen congestion? Yes. Have I seen packet loss? Yes. Is it something you would see with a handful of devices locally? No. Is there things that we can do to make it better? For example, in LoRaWAN, for example, you have something like confirm packets, and there's also a type of way of setting basically, okay, my packet was acknowledged. There are ways that we can build out even within Meshtastic and MeshCore very important emergency data or emergency type of data that could be acknowledged, and if it's not, it could be retransmitted. That way, we understand it's lossy, but let's try to cover our butt, basically.
Oh, right on. So I came from a networking background, and I've been doing this long enough where we used to have hubs, not switches, and hubs were the same kind of thing. You would throw a packet out on the network, and every computer that was connected through that hub would have to see that packet, analyze it, decide whether or not it needed to bring it in and run it up the network stack. Where switches, started looking at MAC addresses, and is it for a MAC address on what port, and making a decision on where to kind of which way to run it. And no, Hollywood, not Token Ring. Although Token Ring did something a little bit different, where it handed the talking stick around for workstations or servers to hand a packet out on the network for it to be processed. But so we overcame it of ways to kind of manage that traffic and handle it. Do you think? I guess. Yeah, you know what? I don't even know where I was going with that question, and I do apologize.
I know Meshtastic is going a very interesting route, which is 2.4 gigahertz, and they're going to be trying to offload a lot of faster data, or even potentially network bridge between, let's say, a repeater and a repeater, 2.4 gigahertz, and you can send as much as you want without throttling.
Actually, I have one right here. So I've got one of the Muzzy Work Duos that the 2.4 gigs. So far, I haven't seen anybody else that's on 2.4 gig.
No, and it's so new, and it's something that will probably need to be implemented in like version 3 of Meshtastic or more. But besides 2.4 gigahertz, there's a new technology that Semtech came out with called FLRC, which stands for fast long range communication. basically you can use sub-gigahertz to send up to, or 900 megahertz to send up to 1.8 megabits or somewhere around there of data. And basically it's like FSK, but much faster. So they try to combine the FSK and LoRa together. That way we can get LoRa kind of range, but we get the speed of FSK. That's what I'm mostly interested is in that new LR 2021 chip that just came out, because that way I don't need two antennas. I could still use a single sub-gigahertz antenna, and I can switch between to high speed or slow speed. And the other big benefit is, so in Meshtastic, there's a lot of radio settings. We have short fast, long fast. We have a ton of these range settings that if you don't match, you're off the network. The new 2021 chip can demodulate all of the data rates on a single channel. So I think it's up to 4 data rates. So if you have SF7 to SF10, which is in the US is what we use, we can demodulate all of that. So whether you're on short fast and I'm on long fast, we could still hear each other.
No, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of technology coming out to fix some of the growing pains that we're finding ourselves in. But I foresee it's going to change. The way things are happening, whether it's 2.4 or if it's LoRa in the next year or two, there's going to be tech out there that's going to solve our issues. Then we'll have a lot more people on the network, and then we'll solve it again.
Well, so I do know at the shows, Rob specifically, Digital Ranger Rob, he'll usually carry a couple radios with him, one being on whatever specialized firmware that we're using for the show. But then also he's got one that's just on the standard firmware. That way we'll find people. There'll still be people that aren't necessarily didn't get the memo that we've got a special firmware for the show, and they're using just the standard firmware too. So something like that would be cool, because you are going to run into events like that where you're going to have people utilizing different modulate. What would you call it, modulation types, or
different data rates, modulation types.
Okay. Ham Radio KS K7J asks, is this much different than Arden Mesh? Are you familiar with Arden Mesh?
No.
So, and I'm not an expert in it, but Arden is a group that uses. We have access to, as an amateur radio operator, we have access to frequencies in and around, for example, 2.4 gigahertz that are outside of the commercial or outside of the ISM portion of it, that are only allowed to be used for amateur radio. So there is Arden's a project where you can use some of this equipment and access those frequencies with using like a TP link or a Netgear router or something like that, and you can set up a mesh of devices to backhaul data. They use it a lot. Like if you want to have a repeater site, they'll backhaul the voice through the Arden net.
Really quickly, from what I'm reading, it's all IP based, and once you're IP based, that usually increases the size of the data you're sending, and it also makes the TCP stack harder to. You have to handle a TCP stack, which not a lot of embedded devices can do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're both a mesh, but this one handles stuff at a very, very lower level than at a TCP layer.
And yes, Arden is TCP IP based. Basically, you can take your computers, your Wi-Fi cameras, whatever, and offline it, not connected to the on-grid system, and still have access to it when the grid system is down.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly. I've experienced it. It works.
So like just a local server, local MiFi that you're connecting all your stuff to for your own local network.
Oh no, I could connect into, like, say there's a camera. So I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's a camera on the mountain overlooking San Francisco. It's Mount Tamalpais. It's on Arden Mesh. If the local network went down here, I could still get into it and view the camera.
What bridges you to that network?
Relay station. So I hop from my node to someone else's node to someone else's node until I get to that camera.
So it's all 2.4 or 5 gigahertz.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see Meshtastic or even MeshCore creating a hybrid approach to that, where they implemented like Wi-Fi Halo, because that can also handle TCP/IP, and that will also keep us in the ISM sub-gigahertz band.
And Hollywood has a question here from a couple minutes ago. Does it shift speed or retries based on signal noise or signal strength?
Signal noise, your SNR or RSSI. Well, I know the answer in LoRaWAN. Basically, it's a link budget, and nothing changes. It's all the settings are hard coded for Meshtastic and MeshCore. So once you're on a specific data rate, it's not like in LoRaWAN you have ADR, and depending on your link budget, which is a calculation of your RSSI and SNR, your data rate changes. Unfortunately, your data rate still would stay the same if you in the current version of all the hardware that we're using. Now, if Meshtastic or MeshCore eventually use, let's say, the LR 2021, they could dynamically change their uplink channel or their uplink data rate based off of the link budget, but that would need to be built into the protocol.
There you go, Hollywood.
Did that make sense? And it made sense to me. And I think I understand.
Hey, hi guys.
Hey, Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Hey.
Mesh dealer, Dave.
Yeah. Hey, Stavros. I had a question about the chip that'll I just got done eating, so my brain's a little foggy. Where it'll do slow, fast, long, fast. It'll demodulate them all
on the same bandwidth.
On the same bandwidth. Wouldn't that defeat the purpose of having, say, a custom firmware for Burning Man or Dayton Hamvention or whatever? Because if you've got a chip that will demodulate everything and it's transmitting on long fast, he's going to get everybody at the show that's on short turbo and then transmit on long fast. And if everybody has that, wouldn't it?
Because it's not only the data rate that changes in settings. We also can shift the frequency. Like if your bandwidths are different, if somebody's on 125 kilohertz and you're on 62.5, you're not going to hear the traffic between each other. So this is only data rate specific. So if you're on, so let's say we go to Hamcation and we're doing our set, we're submitting our QR code. The things that could change could be the coding rate, it could be the key, it could be the channel frequency, the physical frequency, it could be the data rate, it could be the physical bandwidth width of the messages itself. So what I'm talking about is only one component of like 6 different variables that could change when you're changing settings for specific shows.
Gotcha. I smell what you're cooking now. Because we change frequency, we change the encryption key for the channels and the encryption key and the speed. So yeah, okay.
Would it be something where going forward they could almost just auto negotiate as people come into the network with their devices, right? As they enter the physical area and it attaches to the mesh, could it almost just negotiate a protocol, or almost like DHCP where you come in and it just assigns you your information and you're able to communicate with the people in the network, and then when you step away it defaults back to whatever your default settings are?
You would need to find a way of scanning. I think for me personally, because I'm very big into getting voice working on the platforms. For me, the benefit would be that I could send voice on a faster data rate, that basically sends data faster, your range is shorter, and then people could hear that data on those faster data rates. But then the people that want to hear text messages, really far away, they don't have to, it doesn't even interfere, and we could all still be on the same channel. Because at the moment, the only way to segment, let's say, noisy audio data would be to be on a completely separate channel. But if we can separate it by data rate, that would be one level of abstraction away.
Okay. We're getting deep tonight.
Deep.
Mark, Boondock Mark wants to know: are you familiar with BLEPHY?
BLE long range, or because I've tried BLE LR, the long range version. I did a bunch of rain tests here, and when I was in Florida, I'm sorry, and it's pretty flat, and it worked great. Direct line of sight, maybe 200 meters or so. But as soon as I put a piece of paper literally right in front of it, I lost all signal. It was very, very direct line of sight. And also, one reason why I personally don't like 2.4 is the signal penetration going through walls, especially in buildings and concrete basements. It's terrible. And then your outdoor is going to be affected greatly based off of the humidity in the air. Water molecules, they vibrate at 2.4. So if it's raining, your range is going to be significantly shorter than on a nice sunny day. So it's just too many variables for me to have a network that is stable and consistent. So that's why I try to see what can I do in the 900 as much as possible, whether that's let's do Wi-Fi Halo, or let's see what Semtech can come out for us. So I think the 2.4 is going to have a very niche use case, and I'm very excited to see what people come up with, but I'm also skeptical based off of the range testing that I've done in the LoRaWAN side of things.
And then what about forward error control, FEC?
FEC, forward error control, is already enabled in LoRa in part of the SX1262 chip. So all of that is handled, the CRC and the FEC.
Mark's going to be coming with a technical question, Stavros. He's a professor of something.
Somebody in the chat's probably like, all right, let's see if he really knows his stuff.
We actually have two people in chat tonight that are doing exactly that. Hollywood and Mark are both the head, the big smart heads of everything.
The big heads of ham radio, I hear.
Yeah, so one of the benefits of like LoRa over FSK is that LoRa can do the CRC and the FEC, like it's built into it. And one of the nice things for what Meshtastic and MeshCore, what it's built on that hardware, is that something that guy had with the Pocket Ranger, we said he was up 2 weeks and he's only at 49% battery life, was that it can do RX duty cycle very efficiently. So we could basically have such low power RX and still be able to hear the messages come through.
Yeah. That's what I thought, Mark. At least in my realm, FEC is forward error correction, but that's IT. So who knows? And Hollywood said that you're among friends here. They're not going to hold anything against you.
I'm like, where's the Semtech manual?
Yep. So you mentioned the Pocket Ranger. Do we want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
So what is it?
The Pocket Ranger is almost weatherproof. I haven't gotten an IP rating on it yet. It does have a silicone cover going around the buttons and the USB-C port, which is waterproof as well. It has the RAC 4630 module inside, and it has a plus 3 dB gain antenna. It's very hard to differentiate yourself between all the players in the Meshtastic and the MeshCore world. Yeah. it's like I stopped reading books and Shakespeare. Now it's all data sheets.
Yeah.
It's very hard to differentiate yourself between all the players because really at the end of the day, they all start looking the same. They all start, being at the lowest bottom price. So I have to figure out how to make myself different. So one of those was in software and one of those was in hardware. So a lot of the stuff that I did in the past and what a lot of people are doing right now is 3D printed. So I was like, if I want to be a real company, if I want to have a real product, I need to start doing injection molding. So this product is injection molded, and I have the tooling. It comes in quite a few variants. This one has the external antenna with a 3 dBi, but there's also one with an internal, and then there's ones with GPS, ones without GPS. So it really just depends on the price point. And then the other thing to differentiate was in the software. So as I mentioned before, I implement the RX duty cycle. So long story short, all of Meshtastic products listen all the time. So the RX on the LoRa side, the SX1262 is always listening, and that's fine. Plus 6 to plus 8, it's about 6 to 8 milliamps in current draw. But if you implement a duty cycle, you can reduce that 20, 30, up to 50% without losing packets. So I implemented the duty cycle, and what would have lasted up to 2 weeks is now lasting up to 4 weeks, depending on the number of transmits. So I did that for Meshtastic, and then I'm going to be trying to implement that in the MeshCore firmware as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Rob mentioned at 2 weeks of being online, he was over 40% of battery on that. Now the one particular you mentioned without GPS, with GPS, do you want to talk a little bit about why you've got ones that do not have GPS on it?
Yeah. So when I looked at this product I'm going to be going, I want to talk to all the ham radio guys. This is an entry market. People may not need all bells and whistles. So I looked at it and I said, we have GPS on our phones. This is a device that doesn't have a screen on it, and you need a phone to interface with it. So why don't we just use the GPS that's very efficient on your phone as a tool, and not have to spend the money and lose the power draw and the battery life on the product. So I went with a cheaper first product that didn't have GPS, that you just use your phone. And then eventually we'll be coming out with the GPS version. The GPS version really, though, is for people who want to like strap it to their dog or give it to their kid, or if they're like, you know what, if my phone dies and cracks and I have nothing, at least this thing is still going to ping out, like really super hardcore emergency backpackers and people who really want that, who don't mind the trade-off of the more power draw, but still the GPS or the GNSS. I have talked to Quectel, and the GPS unit that I'm using is probably one of the most, or second most efficient chip that's out there. It will be implementing the backup mode, so it will have its own little external supercapacitor to keep the backup mode active. I did a lot of stuff to make sure it's as low as we can go, because there's a LoRa chip that has the GNSS built into it. But with Quectel, I was able to get something pretty good.
So Bill says he can attest to the power consumption. 2 weeks on the solar node with no sun, at least 30-something% left.
Is he talking about the pocket solar, this one here?
Oh, chat's going to take, depending upon what latency Tim has to set at, chat's going to reply in like 7 to 15 seconds. So, Bill, which one?
At least it's not minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, he said yes.
Yes.
All of the hardware that at least all of the current hardware that I make and that I sell, it all uses the RAC 4630 module, the stamped module, not the PCB, not the dev boards, not the WizBlock kit. But the RAC module has been it's been great. It's been efficient. It's been small enough to put into all the products that I need to. And then, basically I could have went with the WizBlock kit and not spent the money on the PCB, but I needed a more efficient charging chip for the battery, for the LiPo. The one that they use and it can charge solar, but it can't. There's no MPPT, there's no DPPM. dynamic power point mapping. So basically it could charge, but not efficiently. So that's one of the reasons why this super tiny 6.6 0.8 watt panel with the little dimples on it can charge or keep this charged in direct sunlight. And then obviously the bigger panel you go, especially if we do like an outdoor solar node eventually, we'll be able to keep the batteries charged, indefinitely with, for me, my personal favorite, sodium ion batteries. And I'm hoping to come out with a solar node that uses sodium ion cells.
And
Very cool.
Mark said cheaper than injection molding is finding a box made by someone else and milling the buttonholes.
True, but that won't look pretty. It's there's a fine line between aesthetics and practicality, right? It's like this was injection molded. This was 3D printed. I'm sorry, and it's not injection molded. And people have asked me to injection mold this, but it's not as easy, especially with a solar panel. And right now the seam is across the center. I'd have to make it completely different, but it's got to look good too.
Yeah. It's got to look good.
Heck yeah.
Interstellar Starman says he's done the problem solving and troubleshooting. You can tell by how he relates to the hardware.
Yeah, it's there. I don't know if it's probably because of the company that I currently work with in New York. You can be an engineer and always look at data sheets and always look at the problem and try to solve the problem at an engineering level. But then there's the user experience. There's okay, great, you built the product, but nobody knows how to use it. You solved the problem, but they can't install it. Or you made it too complicated or you over-engineered it. And that was one thing that I had to keep learning over and over again, was stop over-engineering stuff and just, solve the problem, but make it look good and make it efficient. Because in LoRaWAN world, for me, everything's battery powered. So I have to be, I don't like talking milliamps and amps. It's microamps,
Yeah.
If I work for NASA, it would be nanoamps.
Jody says +1 or even 10 for sodium ion batteries. He'd settle for was it lithium tannerite? Lithium tannerite too.
Tannerite, they'll explode.
If I read that right, I don't know. My glasses are on and it's still small for me. But so it's all the same.
One goes kaboom and EOD doesn't like it, and the other one is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I actually white labeled. I had another little side company that I wanted to white label sodium ion batteries. So I found a company in China. We did NFPP. So basically it's an organic membrane in between. It's not an oxidized layer, which can potentially do thermal runaway. Very safe. You can puncture it, run it over. It'll never catch fire. And that was basically, I was going to use those batteries in an outdoor solar device. And living in Florida, kind of useless because, a lot of the benefits for batteries is more up north where it goes to like 0 degrees Celsius. Because the lithiums, you can't, at least at the moment, you can't beat the capacity per weight. So I would have to use like 6 batteries for every 2 batteries of lithium.
So you mentioned Celsius. Do you think and work in Celsius or in Fahrenheit? I found the question that's going to stick.
Yeah, out of everything in the world,
of all things, man. When
I have gone to Europe a lot, and I've learned Celsius. I still prefer Fahrenheit because to me, it is linear feeling compared to Celsius. But because I deal in hardware all the time, I know that 20 degrees Celsius is great and 0 degrees Celsius sucks. So 30 degrees Celsius, don't go outside. So I got my limits.
So that's your frame of reference, right? 20C is good, 0C sucks.
Pretty much.
That's fair. I'm with you because I have a mini split here in the building, and for whatever reason, when it's connected to the software, it will default to Celsius and stay there. I can hit the button, it'll go to Fahrenheit, but it'll go right back to Celsius. So I've just learned to deal with it. Same thing. 20C is good, right? So right around 70 degrees. But growing up, I know what 70 degrees is, and I have a frame of reference for that. I don't necessarily have one for Celsius, but to your point, you work in an international market and with people around the world. And I think we're one of the few countries that still use Fahrenheit.
Yeah, and embedded, it's all Celsius and millimeters, and it's all and I prefer millimeters, to be honest, because it's so much easier, and even grams. It's just so much easier to deal with those small fractional things. And hey, quarter of an inch.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I never really messed with metric. And I grew up at that. I was in school when they tried introducing it here in the United States, and we're not going to do it. And I've shied away from it. It wasn't until I got into amateur radio where you start dealing with an international crowd, and metric is pretty much the way. And now I look at it and it's like, God, I wish we had actually implemented it back then. Base 10 is a lot easier for me than base 12 or whatever it is. Yeah.
We have to be different.
That's fine.
So here's my take on Celsius and Fahrenheit. We're going to do Frank's take on this. As Stavros said, 0 degrees is cold. It sucks. 20 degrees is just right. But if you convert that to Fahrenheit, 32 degrees sucks and 60 degrees is just right. No, that doesn't work out for me. That's why I do Celsius, and everybody goes nuts when I do it. But yeah, Celsius is the way to go because it's easy to figure out. 0 is 0. But then, as Jody said, when you get to minus 40, it doesn't matter.
Everything's the same. Yep.
There you go. So you had mentioned before we had come on the stream tonight, you've fully opened your online store now.
I did. So basically there's 2 things that are live. There's the website, and then there's the store, which is run by Shopify. The website has the documentation, has the FAQ, has my own version of a web flasher. So you'll be able to select Meshtastic or MeshCore, and then you would be able to flash the hardware. For the outdoor PoE node, that's on for MeshCore, that is only a repeater role, and then everything else is considered companions. And then and there's also light mode. So if you click that little button on the bottom right, it could switch between light and dark. Me and AI were having a lot of fun doing this.
Oh, God, it's bright.
Yeah, dark mode for the win.
Yeah. Let's all right.
So, and then Shopify, you'd be able to buy the Pocket Ranger or the PoE node. Eventually, I'll expand to the antennas that I have, the batteries, replacement parts. I've got the holster, things that will be accessories and other products that will be coming out. And I do have the T-Deck is like the #1 all-in-one device at the moment, and that thing's a beast, that BlackBerry. And I've been trying to figure out how to like make I don't know if you guys remember the Sidekick.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little flip up and down and with the keyboard, but you can't really make that waterproof well. So this is a prototype. I'll be making a 3.5-inch touchscreen with solar panel on the back, all-in-one device, injection molded, waterproof, with an external antenna, and that will have an onboard on-screen keyboard and everything. It'll try to be a all-in-one device, something that you would see, at REI, for example, a nice little screen device next to all the GPS trackers.
Very, very cool.
Nice.
So I got a question in the back chat here. Sorry, Tim, you can't highlight it. Sounds like you're an engineer of some sort.
In some sort. I never went to college. I have a high school diploma. Everything I've learned has been self-taught, and just I decided to learn to run into and through walls than open a book and do it the right way. But after doing this for about 15 years, I'm at the point where I can do what I do.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, so
I,
if
I,
somebody asks, I'm a product. For me, I call myself a product engineer, more than an electrical engineer.
there you go. And I understand the self-taught thing. I am self-taught on a lot of stuff.
You got to get your license and be a ham radio operator, because that's what our hobby is all about.
Yes. We actually talked about that off before the stream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I've taken the practice test, memorized all the questions, and now I just need to pay the $5 or whatever and just do it. Somebody I work with got a perfect score, I think, all the way through all 3 levels.
Golden unicorn.
Yeah, he's like whatever. He has a like a fake award that was like basically he made it his own academy or a group of people who've had perfect scores, or what you call unicorn.
Golden
But
unicorn. Yep.
yep.
I've seen it happen once so far as a VE.
So a VE is a volunteer examiner. So there's a handful of us that are allowed to proctor those exams. So whenever you're ready, let us know. We've got several avenues to get you licensed. You can do it right from right there from your office. You don't have to go anywhere.
Yep. It can be
It's
done
good.
remotely.
I don't have any doors here. It's all printers lined around the wall now.
So,
Hollywood follows up here, going back to the whole engineer and self-taught thing. In many ways, that's an asset because it keeps you creative. Too many engineers he knows are very rigid thinking.
Yeah, it's hard to put yourself in the perspective of the end user or the customer when you're only thinking about the problem. You got to also think about, maybe the end customer is not even asking the right question. Maybe it was something completely different and you're going to go down the wrong rabbit hole.
And that happens with engineers a lot. And I'm the same way. I went to electronics school in the Navy. I don't have a formal college degree, and I've had to fight and kick those doors down myself, going toe to toe with engineers that suffer from that same tunnel vision, instead of kind of looking at things holistically. And I think it's been attributed to my success and being able to do that, to read the room, to understand when things just don't look right, both aesthetically and technically. So,
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Jody summed it up. Formal legal engineer can be very hamstrung in their need to follow the rules of their trades. It kind of sounds like people splitting hairs over things in amateur radio.
and Tim, a couple up from that, Quirky James says, and this goes along the lines of Chris Bowden, have them take the test live right now. I mean, Jeff, and Dave are all VEs, right? So y'all can just do it.
I don't think we're all VEs from the same
VEC.
from the same VEC.
And I'm not a VE. So
Neither am I, Dave. So okay,
and I'm not red E.
No, well, actually, do you know Chris Bowden? Are you familiar with him? He's got the Physics Duck YouTube channel.
No, I don't know people.
Okay.
Well,
not knowing.
You're my first friend.
Oh, okay. No, but are you familiar with the YouTube channel?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah, it's the guy that goes, "You want to see something cool?" and then shows something. I don't know. Find him. You'll like it.
Yeah, you'll like him.
Does he have cool stuff?
He
Lots
does.
of cool stuff.
Random. He's a high voltage engineer that works in a power plant. The spinny turbo things that run in the water. Yeah, the turbines.
Yeah.
And but yeah, he does this channel where he just teaches people about cool things, and he'll see something and take it from there and make a video about it. But he wound up in a stream, Ham Shack TV. It's on Thursday nights. Wound up, somebody sent him the link, but he just dropped in as like, "Hey, I'm here." And so in the middle of this conversation, he had a ham radio license a long time ago. It lapsed, and he's like, I've been thinking about taking the test again. I've been doing a little studying, and then next thing you know, we're giving him the test live in the live stream, and he passed. I think he missed like one question or two questions out of the thing, but you know, it was one of those. It was a testament to just it was all stuff that he deals with, anyways. You know, there's the administrative side of amateur radio and the licensing and the technicalities that you got to deal with, and then there's the electronics, radio, RF, engineering side of things, understanding the relationship of Ohm's law, kind of stuff that's also in there too.
So apparently Michael Tortoise Overland sent Chris the link, and there's a handful of people here saying, go ahead, go do it. Let's make a session right now. Jedi John is the biggest one saying that.
No, if you're not ready,
but
no need to push and scare you away from ever coming back on.
Yeah, you'll see me. I'm actively getting more gray hair right now. It's like literally pulling.
It's filling in. The gray's filling in as we speak.
Yeah, my beard's gonna start growing.
It comes
okay,
with a great
so ham radio. 90% of hams are bearded, so start growing it now. Some of us can't or won't. So
the typical beard, yellow safety vest, boonie cap, and multiple radios.
I have a feeling.
I want to be able to drive past the school.
Yeah. Okay. I have a feeling Stavros was clean shaven when he came on the stream, and he's already got a 5 o'clock shower.
Yeah, that's the Greek side. It's just...
Yeah. But so we talked a little bit about the technology stuff. Any cool stuff you had mentioned wanting to try to get voice. I know you showed me some stuff that you had done in test a few months ago.
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about there, or
so with MeshCore, I was able to I had 2 MeshCore nodes, and me and AI had fun again for a few days, and I built an Android app. Basically, I would do voice, send a voice message through my phone. The Android app would basically chop up in codec 2. It would have post and pre-filters. It would clean up the audio, send it over, and then everything would just be reversed. And so it would compile the message. It would also clean up the audio once it was received, and then output it over. And it worked point to point, 0 hop. 5-second audio clip took about 5 packets with 1200 baud or 1200 bps in codec 2. It was actually pretty you could understand, and you could hear like it was like hear male, and you could understand it was Stavros. Like it was not as robotic as you would have expected. Now what I'd like to do is I'd like to do that with Meshtastic as well, and see if I can limit that at least short term just to like 0 hop. Right now, doing it in sub-gigahertz without messing up the network would be difficult because obviously somebody's going to destroy the network. So we would need to implement some type of guard band, at least with sub-gigahertz, which would be more like push to talk, and then you would have like a timeout window of when you could be able to, and you would have to limit the amount of voice, but 5-10 second audio message, and then you have to wait another 20-30 seconds before sending another audio message, I think is reasonable considering the technology. And then maybe no rules if you're in a private channel, for example, or you're doing it direct point to point 0 hop.
So, Stavros, I have a question with the last 10 minutes that we have here tonight. Do you have something you can live demo for us, maybe, or for people watching?
I don't at the moment because I've reflashed everything. I have it as a video on the MeshCore Discord. So if you just type in audio, or I can give you guys the link at some point, and then you'll be able to see the 2 mobile apps, you'll see the devices, and you'll be able to hear the audio of me speaking, talking into one phone, and then it being played back on the other one.
Okay.
And so that is a way of doing it with using the existing hardware that we all have, which is offload the voice process of encoding and decoding and compiling on the mobile app rather than physically on the device. But eventually, like on this device, it'll have a microphone and speaker, and so these devices will be able to talk to each other directly without a phone. And then you would just do the codec 2 locally.
So am I hearing off-grid version of push to talk?
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly Nextel. Push to talk, beep beep, and then
you
you'll
gotta
have
the Nextel sound with it then.
absolutely in high definition.
Yes.
There you go. Right along the roll.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
iconic sound of the mall in the 90s.
That'll work. It's like you go on Alibaba, for example, you go on AliExpress and you see all of these, I mean, frankly, very beautiful looking radios for like $20. and I don't know how they build it or even if it works or if it's just a prototype that they're selling, but you see all of these nice radios and you're like, well, Meshtastic and MeshCore, they're the newest stuff, they're the best stuff, why can't we do audio as well? And so I'm until the new LR 2021 chip comes out, I would like to see what I can do before that on the 900 side. And I don't know if Meshtastic team will approve of doing audio, because I've already mentioned audio in the Discord channel, and it was like, no, don't do it. So it won't be supported probably at the app level, at least short term for the iOS and Android. But if I make my own custom app, or if I make a device that does audio directly, then I could just use the Meshtastic pipeline for any data I want to, and then just recompile it on the other end.
Well, I'm down. I'll buy it right now. Do it.
Yeah.
Dave's like, give me my credit card number.
Yep.
if only I could survive and work on units of one, I would. It's like, I don't know. Give me a nickel for every time somebody said that.
Okay, so I'll buy 2. How's that?
Yes.
Okay.
10 cents. Was it a loaf of bread 100 years ago?
Mm.
No. So I am looking into it as a standalone device. I don't know which one will come first, if the mobile app for Meshtastic or the physical device, but we'll see. Either way, voice is where I'm headed. Touchscreen and voice.
If you could do, and this is just me, and I'm sorry because I'm selfish, the app, because I've got loads of equipment sitting in that drawer over there, because when there's something new, I buy it. To be able to utilize the existing equipment and then be able to do it would be amazing. And then work your way into like your little screen device, being able to utilize it.
Yeah, there's a segmentation problem that could happen if I made my own, let's say, Meshtastic app. Then one, the people who run Meshtastic would probably not be very happy because we're now using their official mobile app. And I'm sure we would want to be using the official one because all of the updates are probably going to be rolled into that. And whatever they do, they do. So ideally, in an ideal world, I would prefer if the official Meshtastic app had it, even if I had to make it just a prototype short term and then they implemented it long term. Now, if I went a different route, and this is more of the like the business side, like how do I make money off of this?
Right.
I would hate to lock down a feature to get like a fee or a subscription, because it kind of goes against the entire ecosystem. I had my own squelch tails. Yeah.
Sorry, Jody and I are having a side chat here about Roger beeps now.
Yeah.
No, the squelch beats will probably be in more high def than the actual codec 2 audio. So go ahead. I know some people were trying to go do roundabout things, like do offline text to voice modulation and that, but that to me is not very personable. Like, I don't know, I could make it a female and it'll be Tim actually sending me a message. Like,
That's
I
right.
want to hear Tim's voice. I don't want to hear,
With
this
my-
AI
With my gray beard.
Yes.
No. Okay, you don't want to hear the Turkish fembots talking to you. That's what it is. That's a story for another time.
Yeah, and I
Well,
there
do
is
the Greeks and Turkish people still have a problem? Or?
No. Frank got harassed by a bunch of
So
bots, and we just referred to them as the Turkish fembots.
Well, I don't know if I was harassed by them for some reason. For about 6 months there on YouTube, I had 60% of my viewership were females from Turkey. So I was named the Turkish fembot person because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
they
can-
got good baklava.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
All righty. Well, guys, we are coming up here at the top of the hour, and Ham Nation is going to be on tonight. Our friend L, friend of the show, will be on Ham Nation tonight, which is cool. So make sure you go check that out. Any last minute stuff before we wrap it up?
For me, I'm going to a bunch of shows. I'll be at Raleigh in North Carolina. I'm going to Dayton, Ohio, and then I will be in Alabama. And I'm trying to get into DEF CON over in Vegas, which is not really a ham radio show, but still adjacent. So yeah, so if I'm around there, if you're around there, it'd be great to see you.
So
And,
I don't know.
and bounce ideas like you had Tim with the PoE.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where you're at in the U.S., but 2 shows I would suggest at least looking into, see if they're plausible for you: Pacificon and CPAC. CPAC is in Oregon and Pacificon is in California. And those are 2
I'm
very
like 2
ham-heavy
hours from New
shows.
York City driving.
Okay. So that would be as much as
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Jeff, you got anything?
Just been working on videos, trying to get them done. I'm like way behind, and I have stuff that I have recorded that I need to edit, stuff I have to record, stuff I want to record, all kinds of stuff. So I'll have some videos this week coming. Yeah.
Awesome. Dave, how about you?
I'll be homeless Monday. So, and I actually hit the road. So that's it. Once I get settled in with living with everything with the house gone and everything done, I'm actually going to start trying to make some content because there's a lot of cool toys that I play with that I could probably share. So that's it for me.
And if everybody, Dave is being facetious. He still has a home. He's sitting in it. It's going to be on wheels.
It's on wheels. Trailer crash
instead of a foundation. So redefining your mesh dealer in the trailer park.
Mobile mesh dealer.
Your mobile mesh dealer in the trailer park. So how about you, Frank?
Just the usual stuff. I think in the next week and a half, I'll have a video out on this stuff finally. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, yeah, everybody, minute and a half until Ham Nation starts. Go tell them we sent you and say hi to them for us. I'll be dropping the link here for them as well.
Yeah. And also make sure we get Stavros' link in there for LowMesh and everything. And guys, thank you. If you haven't seen it, I did put a video out. I have gotten into a bet with my teenage son. Like most teenage kids, he thinks he's smarter than dad and everything. But he said, like you cannot get 5,000 subscribers by the end of the month. I'm about 140 subscribers away from being at 5,000. So if you are stumbled across this, the channel, and you're not familiar with who I am, graymanpota.com, please go check that out and just subscribe to the channel. If you've got teenage kids or you've had teenage kids, my dilemma, my plight. So help me smack him down and put him in his place. But other than that, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Go check out that. There's other great content coming up throughout the week in amateur radio. And we will talk to everybody later. 73, everybody.
73, y'all.